The killers behind the San Bernardino terror attack have been radicalized for years. That's according to the head of the FBI, James Comey. He said today Syed Farook and Tashfeen Malik had talked about jihad before they even dated, as early as 2013. And now authorities are looking into exactly who and what inspired them.
We also believe they were inspired by foreign terrorist organizations. We're working very hard to understand exactly their association and the source of their inspiration. We're also working very hard to understand whether there was anybody else involved with assisting them, with supporting them, with equipping them. And we're working very, very hard to understand, did they have other plans, either for that day or earlier, and that work continues.
Retired Lieutenant Colonel Tony Schaffer joins us by phone. It's good to talk to you today, Colonel. When we're talking about this couple, do we know anything more about their path and how they came together to be able to unleash this kind of massacre in the United States?
No, we really don't. I think that's one of the most vexing issues at this point in time is what exactly happened to both put them on the path of radicalization. How did they find who they linked into? How did they find each other? And more importantly, are there folks out there who parallel them? We want to know both the mechanics of how this happened as well as the potential parallels of others who are already also on the same path. So when you put those two things together, that's what we're trying to find out right now, is what exactly put them on the path, what were the road marks along the path, and are there others on the same path preparing to do the same thing?
Okay, so here's Syed, who is an American citizen, born and raised here. She is not. They meet somewhere overseas. Is it possible that their marriage was actually arranged by a terrorist organization?
Absolutely. Let's look at two things on that. First, Faisal Shahzad, the Times Square bomber, came from the same, was radicalized in the same area of Pakistan this woman came from. So that we know this is a hotbed of terrorist activities. So you put that together as a clue. And then the other thing that's new, Contessa, that we've been studying for the past 4 years is that terrorist organizations are attempting to find ways, vectors, if you will, of putting operatives, sleeper cells, into the United States. During World War II, the Nazis put their operatives on shore in Long Island, Florida. Well, the days of using submarines to put, people on shore here is long over. They were captured instantly. So I think ISIS and other terrorist groups have looked at legal vectors. And let's remember, all the 9/11 hijackers were actually here legally. One of the groups I worked with at the time, Able Danger, was trying to track these folks. And we were told by lawyers you can't track them because they're here legally. So we have to understand terrorists are always trying to be very creative in finding methods to insinuate their operatives into the United States. This may very well turn out to be one of the new vectors they discovered that we have to start looking at.
By the way, James Comey was asked about the possibility of a terrorist arranged marriage, and he said that they don't have the answer to that yet, but it would be a game changer if it were true. We've also learned that Farook's wife, Tashfeen Malik, was posting radical Islamist views online for at least 2 years. Is it possible that American intelligence just missed it?
Yes. Let me be blunt here. We have to be looking where terrorists are planning and being essentially radicalized. We cannot be looking at people who are living in Minot, North Dakota, going to bridge clubs. This whole bulk collection thing, which was just ended by NSA, was a complete sham. We were looking at all the wrong places. To be effective at looking for terrorists, you must look where terrorists are trained, radicalized, and they communicate. We cannot continue to ignore the fact that people who have radical views can simply express those views and not be in danger of being focused on. This is anyone on the extreme right or extreme left. So I think we learned a lesson here that we must pay attention to those musings online of anybody who has these extreme views. Anybody.
Well,
let me be clear on this.
So, Colonel, here's the thing. When I'm online, I see a lot of views that I consider extreme, but I don't go picking up the phone and calling the authorities about it. When you're in a see something, say something environment, when we're talking about the importance of noticing something that's off with your coworkers or your brother or your son, I mean, at what point does it cross a line into a situation where we have what was going on during the Cold War, where neighbors were reporting neighbors for being communist sympathizers?
Excellent question. Well, let's look at it in terms of what you just said. Apparently, she's been doing this for 2 years. That indicates to me a pattern. If there's a pattern of a length of time, and it's one thing for someone to pick up and do a post that they're frustrated with the U.S. government. I do it all the time. Anybody who follows me on Facebook knows I'm always slamming TSA for not doing its job properly. It doesn't make me a terrorist. It makes me a concerned citizen. So the issue is discerning between a concerned citizen and a terrorist. And it's that pattern. It's that length of time. 2 years is a long time to be continuing to spout this sort of thing. Plus, you combine it with other things. So this is where the government has to be smarter. They've got to look deeper and then start connecting pieces. Remember, the Paris attacks, one of the things discovered after the Paris attacks is that ISIS and ISIS operatives did a two-day Twitter campaign regarding supporting their brothers and sisters in the Paris attack. This was prior to the attack.
Yeah.
So we have to understand that ISIS and other terrorist groups are now using social media in ways we never thought they could.
Thank you so much, Colonel.